Hi, I'm Ross, and I made over $200,000 dropshipping with Oberlo. So I was actually selling this tea whitening powder I found on Oberlo Supply, and then I made a whole website around that based on charcoal products. Well, I actually read a few success stories, and when I heard this idea, I was like, this is the best idea I ever heard ever. Like, you basically don't touch the product, he ships it all for you, but you get the cash. So I was like, this is a kind of win-win-win. Everyone's getting, the supplier's getting his fix, I'm getting my fix, and then the customer's getting the product at the end of the day. Maybe not for the price he could have paid, but it doesn't really matter. And why I did it, because you'll work your minimum wage job for hours and make nothing, but you won't sit around to 3 or 4 hours a day on your own website and potentially make loads. So I kind of started initially just as a side gig on top of my normal job because of the phone, because I broke my phone and I really wanted to, I didn't have €200 to spare on fixing the phone. It wasn't a necessity, but more that I kind of wanted to fix it. So I said, okay, if I can earn an extra 200 on the side, I will. And then it just kicked off from there. It took me a couple of times before it actually worked. Yeah, so I tried, so before one was really successful, I had actually 3 or 4 others. So initially I made one just because I actually really liked making websites with Shopify and all that, because it was just really fun. You're building your own brand, and I had no programming experience at all. I was computer savvy, but never thought I could make my own website. So I used to just do it as fun. So my first one was actually selling in electronic components, because I have a background in physics and instrumentation. So I had a lot of product knowledge, and I actually saw on AliExpress they were going for so cheap compared to I go down to the shop. If I wanted to buy a packet of resistors, it might cost me €2 for 10. Still really cheap, but I could get 200 for €2 on AliExpress. So I built this whole little website, bought the domain, was really excited. I was like, cannot wait. But I didn't know how to market back then. I knew how to make a really good looking website, how to do good product descriptions, because I had invested knowledge in the actual products, but I didn't know how to market. So that wasn't a success. It's still my baby, I still love it. So the second one I had was actually this, it was this toddler's technology thing. So basically it was I had seen my friends' kids playing with their phones, and kids are reckless. So they throw them on the ground. I was like, that's, they wanted to play with it, but you didn't want to give them your phone either. And I actually saw this product online. It was this fake iPhone. So basically it looked exactly like an iPhone, had buttons and everything, but it cost $2. And I was like, that is more expendable than an actual iPhone or Samsung or whatever. So I had built this website around that, and I had a few other products. It was more like a toddler's technology, safe-proof iPads and stuff like that. That didn't kick off. I feel like it didn't kick off because the price point was too high. Looking back on it now and what I learned, marketed it, probably lost €50. I was like, this isn't working, I can't get it. I had some traffic, but I just didn't have any sales. So I delved away from that, and then I made a couple other ones. I made a bracelet one, which I found success in, but it was a small success. And then eventually, I kept building new websites every few weeks because I'd have a brand new product idea, but I felt like the product wouldn't match my current website. There was I'd always have a theme in my website. So if I'm selling charcoal products, when I'm selling the toddler thing, base my products around my winning product, if you get me? So I can cross-sell and all that. So every few weeks I'd find a new product, and every few weeks I'd have a brand new idea, and let's go with this. So eventually it came down to the charcoal thing, and I just managed to kick off. I kind of used what I learned from the other websites. So at this stage I was quite good at making a really pretty looking aesthetic website. And then I kind of used marketing knowledge I had learned. I'd lost money initially. I probably lost up to €300 on the other websites trying to market and buying test products in and out. So by the time I was at my 4th or 5th website, I kind of fine-tuned those details. So now I knew I wasn't going to lose money as much, you know what I mean? So that's when I started running a few ads, and then it just kicked off. And even initially though, it was quite, the money I was making wasn't that much. I think my first month I made $200. I was happy out with that. And then I had just quit my current job, and I was going back to college. So now I had more time to kind of focus on it. I was like, okay, this is potentially, my sole source of income. So I was kind of happy if I made $200 a week. I'd be like, that's what I would make in a part-time job. And that's what I was doing for the first 2 months. And I was quite, complacent with it. That was fine for me until I saw that the same product was making a lot more money on another website. And I was like, okay, competition is great for, boosting you. So I ended up upscaling my ads, started changing, targeting different countries, putting a lot of research into it. And I went from making, I think it was 1,800 in September and October to making 17,000 in November. So just jumped. And then from there on end, kind of money helps build money. So now I had a lot more money to play with. Now I could spend more on ads without worrying about losing it. And then in December, made 50,000. And then January, 50,000. And then February, kind of 40,000 because I had reached a saturation point. At this stage now, my ads were the exact same for the past 3 months. That's when I should have been focusing more on it. But at the same time, I had other commitments with college and all that. So I actually had to take a step back from it and just reduce ad spend, because I would, at that stage, you're still risking money. So, you know, you might put 500 euro on an ad for the day. No, they're quite high figures now. But you'd wake up the next day, it's like, what if that didn't work? And now you're down 500 euro. Whereas like 2 months ago, 500 euro was a week's wage. Now you spend it in a day. So like things like this are definitely things that like kind of hold you back from making money. So it's a lot of risks to be had, but once you see that it's working, you know, it's not as risky. And then I took a step back from the actual business just due to college reasons and all that. So if I had kept keep my time there, definitely could have just boom, boom, boom for the year. Because I saw similar websites making similar cash in the months after I peaked. So the potential was still there. It was just my actual time inputted was now reduced. I had that on autopilot, you know, I was doing nothing with it. Same ads, I had a VA doing all my orders. On my first ad with this charcoal website, it was $20, 20 euro. And I made 200 over the course of 3 days. I was like, that's perfect. That's like a great investment. Now at the same time, when I was doing these ads, I was using Instagram story ads, which is a brand new, at the time, Instagram stories are quite new. They were competing with Snapchat. And I remember being on my phone one day and I was looking at my friend's stories. The next thing, this ad came up and it covered my entire screen, and all I had to do was swipe up and I was brought to the website. And I was like, that is amazing. Whereas before, a lot of people were using Facebook ads and people streaming out Facebook ads for dropshipping. But especially where I'm from, Facebook is kind of dead. No one uses it. Instagram's the big platform now. And then Facebook ads are kind of only side little, you know, they don't cover your screen. You can scroll past them and they're gone. Whereas this thing would just caught my eye. So I was like, that's brilliant. And they were quite cheap at the time because they were such a new advertisement platform. And I was like, if you can create a good enough content to catch people's eye in the first 5 seconds, you have them. And it's so easy for them. You want to make it easy for people to buy. So like, I think Instagram really helped with that. It was so easy. You literally swipe up and you're brought to the product page, the ad card page, and then it's like a 2 or 3 step process after that, and they bought it. Something that they didn't even think they wanted, but I saw, you know, you sold you enough. But initially, this is when I reached the saturation point, because I had spent 200 euro and I'd made 2,200 at one point, but just like 5 weeks later. And so I didn't care that, you know, I was making less money, so I'd spend more money. You're still making money, if you know what I mean. And that's when I actually scaled it back a little bit, because I was kind of looking, okay, now my ads are costing more, because I don't know if there was more competition or because I didn't change my audience or my lookalike. It was me not focusing on marketing and letting go to autopilot. So now my ads were costing more for the same income. And eventually I scaled it back because I did the maths in my head. Well, okay, if I only spend 200 on ads and I make this amount, the difference between this and that is the exact same difference as spending 800 and making that, you know what I mean? Except now I have less of a workload. I have less orders and less customers to deal with. It just made sense at the time. But I know if I could have just tweaked it, if that 200 made, the most I've ever made was 2,000 in a day, which was great. And that was off an ad that cost me 200 euro. Multiple ads, bear in mind. So I'd always have like 10 ads running. The exact same ad, just I would put 20 euro towards maybe United States, 20 euro to make a separate ad. Spain, have it in Spanish, Italian, have it in Italian, and stuff like that. And so it would accumulate to me spending 200 to 800 on ads a day. Now, bear in mind, there was definitely some parts where I was like losing money. So I would kind of do the maths in my head really quick. It's like, okay, I spent 800, I made 2,000. After product costs, I maybe had 800 euro profit, perfect. But after a few weeks of like looking into it, I realized that I could have definitely have been making more. So for example, I target Australia, I might have like 50 euro ad spend for that. Where if you actually look at the data on your store and you can see how much customers actually came from Australia for that day, you actually weren't making money on Australia, but overall you were making money, but like they were actually reducing. So your profit, you could have been more profitable with spending less, you know? So definitely, I let it go to autopilot, but had I been watching the finer details, could have made way more money. How I handle competition when I'm dropshipping, just be better. competition kind of makes you want to be better. So, I initially saw 1 or 2 stores selling the exact same product do better than me, and I was like, okay, it's obviously a winning product. What am I doing wrong? And that's when you just get inventive. I researched so much. I had no idea about marketing. I'd read blogs from Oberlo, on Facebook posts, just get as much information as you can, and then just try. So like you're not everything's gonna work, so you're gonna lose money, but you're potentially gonna make so much more money. So I felt with the competition, I already had a really good looking website, so I was happy with that. It was social media. Let's try to ramp this up because this is so good for like social proofing, and like the rest of them were focusing just on Facebook ads and stuff like that, I presume. I don't know, but their social media were left vacant. So like I thought that was a good like chance to like really stand out against the competition. Price points, things like this, because it's hard to give a general answer on all this because different competition requires you to do different things. Your mindset to money and like spending on ads and all that, it is very scary at first, but I started with 20 and I just scaled from there, and then like I had $20 to spend spare, so I did. And then when I had 100 to spare, I did. And then eventually when I had the 500, now, but it's very easy to think, well, that's what I used to make in a week. Now I'm spending that in a day. It will put you off, but when you're at that point, now I'm not saying either to rush in and like put €500 on your first ad ever, because that's just a waste. But like, test things, because if the ad's really good and you've targeted the right people, $20 will make you profit. So, and it's nearly like a linear scale then, like, $20 will make you 200, $200 could potentially make you 2,000, which it did. And then it reaches saturation point, then you have to get creative. You can't be running, I've learned you can't be running the same ads. You gotta get good content out there because you do have competition now. Dropshipping is more widely known, and like winning products get found pretty like that. Someone will see that it's working. They'll see an ad. I'll know now. I'll see an ad on my phone of a new product I've never seen before. I can guess because I'm a dropshipper that they might be dropshipping this as well, and I can see that it's getting good engagement and all that. So this is a new winning product. You're going to have 50 other people that just saw that too, that know about dropshipping and are going to jump on it and try to do it better than them. And so then it's more like trying to do better. Now, saying that, I had 30,000 orders on my store, which sounds like a lot, but when you spread it out over the world, that's only 30,000 people. Just double that in my city alone, and my city is tiny. So like, there's room for other dropshippers there, and there's room to target different people. Everyone's not going to do exactly the same as you, and I wouldn't recommend copying everyone else, because then you're just like, if I was targeting the exact same people as maybe Scott or whatever, now we're directly competing, and like, the $20 is not the same value towards those ads as if I was competing, trying to target different people that he mightn't even have thought of, you know what I mean? So it's more testing things as well. So recently sold the store a couple of months ago. To be honest, I actually got bored with you just like, because it's your baby at the start and you have so much ideas, and when things start steamrolling, you're like, oh, this is really exciting and fun. And then, to be honest, I went traveling for 6 months. Had the website on autopilot. I had ads all scaled back. I had them at a range where I was okay if I lost some money, but at a range where they were still making profit. And eventually, I had the same image for 9 months as an ad. That could have been changed at any time. Could have made videos. Really, really kept it simple, because I wasn't too money hungry. I had enough to live and do what I wanted to do. Because it's about getting financial freedom, but you don't have to be a millionaire or anything like that. I wanted to travel, and it allowed me to travel on this amount of money. Whereas I'd seen the exact same product sell exactly what I was making, over 50,000 a month, when I was only making 6,000. But I was off in Spain, so where I was on an island, and I didn't really care. I was like, I only need this amount. So like, yeah, I had made my initial money. I could have potentially made more, but like, it's about like time versus, I wanted my free time. I'm never going to be 25 again with all that cash and all the free time. I could have spent a year working on it, but then I don't know. I think I'd do dropshipping again 100%. It was it worked fantastically for me, and like I just actually haven't tried it again because I've not needed the money to a certain point. I feel like money is definitely a motivator in it, because like if you don't really need the money, me personally get lazy. I'm not money hungry, so I don't need to make. I don't feel like, if you told me now, do you want 50,000 next month? Sure. If you tell me I can get it this way, as in if you just handed it to me, yeah. But if I had to, I'm lazy pretty much. I am going to do it because, going back to that, why would I work a minimum wage job or or work for someone else, when I could be my own boss, when I can, there's a lot of like, initially with dropshipping, there's a lot, like, you know, building a website, making sure everything's perfect, find those working ads. There's a lot of initial time, but then after the first month or two, look at that, then it was autopilot for a year. So I think that's what is off-putting for a lot of people starting, is like, it is a lot of work, and it's like, oh, this isn't as easy as it sounds. And it's not. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But I definitely am going to pursue it, because I know I can do it. And I know even that I could probably make 3 new websites that might never work. But just keep trying, because you're just gonna find that winning product again, and boom. And trends keep coming and going. Like, you know, fidget spinners made people millions for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Now no one talks about them. So, you know, you constantly being on top of trends. There's going to be a right time and place. So like, I just haven't had the need to do dropshipping at the moment, but I know I'm definitely going to go dropshipping. Piece of advice I'd give for dropshippers starting out would be, keep trying. You know, even like, you know, work, don't quit your day job straight away. Do it as a side hobby. Instead of being on Instagram or Facebook for an hour, go and look at the website, read a blog post. Just, there's so much information out there. People like me sharing, you know, people aren't very reserved in sharing information. I find, you know, personally, I was quite happy to tell people how I made it, because it still requires work. You could have the, you know, exact instruction list on how to do something. People don't want to do it, they won't do it. So like, keep trying, keep learning. Don't be deterred. It can work, obviously, and I'm only one of, like, I presume thousands. I know there's loads of people out there that are doing this. And going back to that, there's so much potential, like, you know, customers out there that eventually you're going to find something right. You just got to put enough time and knowledge into it. You're going to fail a lot, potentially. You might get lucky, and that'd be great. Selling to yourself is probably the easiest thing. And if you can sell to yourself, then you know when you're writing product descriptions, you're doing these images, you know, now you can get lost with building your own website, and you're like, you think it's amazing, it's your baby. So get a second opinion, show your friends and family. That's who I first sold to. Like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Does it look really cool? And get, you know, because you can get so used to looking at it and thinking it's perfect, where someone else might think it's not. So like, you know, get other trusted opinions from your friends and family, and then keep trying, and then, yeah, just keep learning.